Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hi. I'm just staring at you. But my podcast is kind of weird. Just staring right into you through the microphone camera. Doing my little live podcast show. From Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, episode 1612-Off. Well, I had a fun day yesterday with the guy
Mike's Daily Podcast
named Kevin, who did their segment Addendum with Kevin on the show. Also a friend of mine. She got to meet Kevin and she
Mike's Daily Podcast
had a wonderful time, and our waitress was Portuguese and she had a lot of stuff that she talked about with ease, and she didn't talk about cheese, but that would have been cool and it would have made me wheeze, and we would have had some fun times, I believe. This show is just flying.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We're flying high now. We're flying high. We're watching the world
Mike's
pass us by.
Daily
And that's about it
Podcast
for my singing today.
Yeah!
No, there might be some more singing. Hey, somebody, don't forget to give me a click. We need 100 to blast the news out. Oh, is what I got from Irene Pena. Yeah, okay. I think I told you on a recent show that I do not really support what she was talking about, the thunderclap.it website. It involves them connecting to your Facebook account, and I am like, no more things get connected to my Facebook account ever again. That's it. After all the stuff that went down with Senor Zuckerberg. This is people walking in. It's interrupting my flow. Hello, Michael Master. It's Madame Rootabega. And it is so nice to be here today. I love you. Dang it, that was a beautiful song.
This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley blowing up stuff. Do you know that? That's wonderful. Yeah, don't blow up stuff. That's... Hey, we're tearing stuff up, though, to be on the cool tip.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture today, let's see. Could it be with my dog? I don't know. I have a lot. Let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. Can I have the back in time sound effect that kind of sounds like this? Thank you. I'm going back to... What year should we go back to? I've been hearing a lot about 2015 lately. Do you remember that year? A little crazy. 2015. I remember that year specifically because I got my job at the company that I work for. In fact, Kevin interviewed me for the job. And we were discussing that yesterday about how he was interviewing me, and because he was my superior. And he said to me, Mike, so this job requires somebody getting up and being here at the work by 5 a.m. And I was like, what? Oh, no, what? Yeah. And so I said yes, against my better judgment. And here I am. And it is 5:42. Do I regret it? Yes, every single day. No, but I enjoy waking up early. For a long chunk of my life, I got up very late in the day, and the day was wasted away. And I feel, here's the positives of getting up early. First off, if you get up at 4 a.m., and I apologize with starting off my list, which, by the way, a guy I know by the name of Marco, who has done a segment on here called The Marco Minute.
The Marco Minute. The Marco Minute.
Good God, I have bags under my eyes. I'm catching the reflection of my mirror of a window here at Cafe Anyway, and I'm... What What's happening to me? That's the negatives of getting up early. Marco, when he does a list, he'll go, yeah, I put a bunch of stuff in my chicken soup. First off, I put, and then he does like a pause. And then his feet, when he's sitting down, kind of move back and forth like a little kid about to get his hair cut. And he's like, first off, and then he kind of shakes back and forth as if he's a typewriter going back and forth. Typewriters, kids, were these things that went when you typed. It was awesome. You missed out. And he's like, so first off, you put, or he doesn't do it. He doesn't say first off. And I got to stop saying the word off. Why do I go first off? It should just be number one. Number one, I get the chicken. Number two, I get the broth. Number three, the vegetables. Oh, and then he peppers it all with lovely F-bombs everywhere. And yes, so that's fun listening to that with the Marco Minute. But yeah, Marco and I did mornings for a while. Now he comes in later in the day. He gets to sleep in, but there's something fun about getting up so freaking early. People take pity on you. People, you go, oh God, people just can't quite fathom how come you get up so early. And the people are, then you can go to bed early, which is just good because there's really nothing to do. The later you stay up, the more trouble you get into. And if you're just on the computer, that's just sad. You need to get out in life. You need to sleep. And computers wake you up. Computers keep you up, is what I'm saying. And you just need to get out and live. And I can't find a podcast picture. 2015, I guess, was not the best year. I interviewed a lot of people. That's when I was interviewing a lot of folks. Until one day I decided, hey, I am basically playing music that no one cares about. I'm having on artists that are really nice, but some of them have no personality. And they're not the ones that I've had on continuously over the years. I enjoy talking to Kai Alfred Hillig, Irene Pena, Cure for Gravity, a local Berkeley band, very nice people. But it just after a while we'll use this one. Is this from 2015? This is a lovely sunset. This happened in the year 2015. I was looking out from San Leandro, from the harbor. And you go to the very end, there's this peninsula. And they've done this wonderful thing. They put a park course on the peninsula. So every 100 feet or so, there's these nice little devices that you can try and do a pull-up on and embarrass yourself. Try and hoist yourself up and do like a, what do you call those that are push-ups, but you're being suspended by bars. And yeah, you do various kinds of exertions. And that's good, for your body. And you can kind of show off to the hot ladies walking by. So that is what you find at San Leandro Marina. And this lovely sunset. And I think this is a Coast Guard boat heading out into the sunset. And you're looking out there at South San Francisco. And this picture from 2015. So something good did happen that year. And what was that year? Did we know Hillary was running for president at that point?
But I just want to set the record straight.
I think we probably did at that point. We thought she was going to win. Ha! 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 And that was not exactly
wrong.
Right. Well, she did win some of the vote, to which he says,
because you'd be in jail. Wrong.
What will he do next?
I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
I'm not going to talk about him. Every podcast that I have in my queue is talking about him today. And I don't. What's the point? What is it? We all know who he is. We all know that he has a personality where he has to always be in the spotlight. Now he's in the spotlight. and he's just going to do weird things like say
The United States.
and that kind of thing. And
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander.
but that's, what we have. And I'm amazed we're still standing. So something must be going right. Maybe he's doing something right, despite himself. I don't know. There's a movie that Mr. Peter Sellers was in. What was it called? Being There, Being Alive, something like that, where Chauncey, the gardener at the White House, suddenly becomes this advisor, and just despite himself, he becomes a helpful person. Or there's that one with Kevin Kline, where he becomes president. He's a stand-in for the president because he looks just like the president, and then he ends up it being pretty good. So who knows if that's what's happening. That's all my analysis for today, my political analysis. And I put the political label on this podcast. I should be ashamed. Meanwhile, his wife, they held hands. Donald and Melania held hands at their first state dinner after earlier awkward moment. Okay, that's the news. And she was in a Chanel gown. Another woman has died on a plane. A female passenger aboard an Alaska Airlines flight from Seattle to Kansas City died as the result of a medical emergency. She could not be resuscitated. Night Court had a wonderful. It was a really funny guy, Harry Anderson. He was huge in the 80s. He would get on the talk shows, and he would do his crazy little magic tricks. And Night Court was a long-running show. And he died recently, and best known for his portrayal of Judge Harry Stone. He died of a stroke this week, according to reports. He was 65. Wow. Gosh. So young. And he also had a show called Dave's World, based on Dave Barry. That's why I fused those two in my head. The author, Dave Barry, has written a lot of hilarious books and articles for the papers. He was also on Cheers. Night Court. Gosh. That was like the show it was on like all the time. And that was the thing. Actually, in real life, and he loved Mel Torme, and his character on the show loved Mel Torme, and Mel Torme actually came on the show and on Night Court and sang while he was still alive. And recently, I was listening to Mel Torme. I was listening to I think it's called Illinois Street. It's on Soma.fm or SomaFM.com. It's an internet radio station. And they play all this funky lounge music from the 60s and 70s. And it's fun to just have on. There's no commercials. And you just play it. And all of a sudden, Mel Torme comes on and he's crooning away. And he's singing some Beatles song. Like, got to get you into my life. And just this amazing voice Mel Torme had. But Harry Anderson was a huge fan of him. And he was all over the TV in the 80s, and he was a television star. He was on TV so much I had to stop watching TV. Do you get that point where, oh my God, this person's on again? Happened a lot to just everybody that was on Cheers. I'm like, oh great, Ted Danson, woohoo. Just had to turn off the TV. And I have continued to turn off the TV. God, I haven't watched TV in almost a week, it seems. Oh no, wait, I watched on the weekend. And I watched a lot of Travel Channel because it's wall-to-wall food porn. I don't know what it is. And they always show the most unhealthy food. And they're eating away this stuff that you're like, wow. If I ate everything I just watched in this past half hour, I'd be dead. And sadly, George H.W. Bush, he's not dead, but he has been hospitalized less than 24 hours after Barbara was put to rest. And that, unfortunately, seems to be the way that happened with Johnny Cash. Johnny died, and then June Carter Cash died. I forget who passed away first, but that happen for people that have been so connected over their lives for so long. They were married from 1945 to when she passed away just recently. So, yeah, well, it's sad. But on an up note, let's go outside of Cafe Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. I have to tell you that no matter what you do in life, you should enjoy what you're doing. I was trying to get all philosophical there. Nothing came to my mind. I think you have to get up early sometimes, but not all the time. Sleep in on the weekend if you can. I'm going to try and get a little sleep. Hopefully my dog Basil the Boxer will allow me to sleep this evening. He's been good so far. By the way, after we saw Kevin, my friend and I, we walked into a thrift store on B Street in Hayward. Oh my God. And we're walking around and I'm thinking, oh, this is a great, thrift store that probably is run by, I don't know, Goodwill or Salvation Army or something. And there's this funky hat, and my friend likes this funky hat, and she's thinking about buying it. And then we asked there's a kid running the place, and we're like, hey, who runs it? Who owns this thing? Whose stuff is? And he goes, oh, this is all my mom's. All that was his mom's. Oh. So that could not have been at any way a good business proposition to hoard a bunch of stuff, basically crap, and then B, rent a place, albeit B Street in Hayward. I don't know how bad the rent is there, but it is going up. Rents always go up unless, well, in that area, things are improving, and there's that Buffalo Bill's Brewery restaurant that has been there for a long time and seems to attract a lot of people, and they're trying to cultivate a nice nightlife. In fact, they're supposed to have some big Cinco de Mayo thing going on. But yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? This is all my mom's stuff. Well, this has been all Mike's stuff, and I hope you enjoyed it. Next show, we will have the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. Have a great day! Okay, go back to sleep.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!